Hey, my friends. It's Monday. It's 12:12. I'm 12 minutes late. I'm just going with flow. I'm not even late exists right now in this world where there's no time. So watching the replay in a future time, tell me what's up. Let me know. Drop a little circle icon if you're in Creator Circle events, so everybody else gets to know where you're at in our community. And there's no weekends unless we kind of create that as such. We're just home all the time, which is an interesting thing. Some people talk about that as well. But just why differentiate schedule? It's like, what if we just have less work every day? I don't know, maybe it's still useful to have a day off of work, but I'm just in the flow and I'm liking it. So what's going on? I'm going to share a bunch of things that are going on in my life. And maybe it's helpful. Maybe there's some challenges you're stuff going on in your world that something I share may be in service of. Hey, good to see you. You're here. Welcome. Friend, every Wednesday, Jackie and I are in a book club. We're studying Werner Erhard and Martin Heidegger, slowly but surely, and we're learning about being and creating through being. Of other awesome stuff. It's really deep. Jackie's brilliant, and we get to kind of help and challenge each other to see really nuanced flow and live from flow in their life. I'm just looking over there because the book's in my bag. Oh, I was going to say that it's been cool being together with Jackie every week. We went it off in person. There was no coronavirus in our awareness. And then every week we got together and it was moving closer from China. Was it silly to even be concerned about it? Then it's like, wow, now we're having a virtual book club meetings because I can't be in person anymore. Yeah, Jackie just said it's the best time of the week. It's awesome. Can't wait for Wednesday. And speaking of books, here's another book that I'm reading that is so good. Oh man, I'm going to buy this. My mentor Steve and send it to him. So Steve, if you're watching, it'll be arriving. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. The pilgrimage of psychotherapy patience. This is recommended by my friend Phil, and God, it's so good. I'm only a little bit away in. It's really about the relationship between a therapist and his or her patient, and how that therapist takes on kind of the role of a guru, and be functional and also dysfunctional, and how you do it, and to what extent, and all that is really important. So, and I read so much that this author has written already in the work. So I'll just say a little bit about it, basically, actually, for anybody interested. Out there in the world is going to save me from myself and from this uncertainty in the world is an idea that's a lie and it's an illusion, but it can be the function of drawing somebody into a relationship which helps them to then find out and discover that that's not actually possible, that that person can save you, that actually you can only save yourself, and there's nothing. And then the next part is there's nothing to really be saved from, but really fun paradox that I play with in my work, where I do my best, the best version of myself that I can, and I try to share that as authentic as I possibly can. And then what happens is people look at me and they think, oh, that person is something that I want to do. Maybe they can help me and save me from my own challenges. And then that moves them into a relationship with me. We end up in conversation. And then through that relationship, I am able to help them to discover that it's not me and I can't save them, and that actually their own capacity, and they get to be their version of themselves. But that wouldn't have happened if the projection didn't exist in the first place. I said yesterday on that these boxes up here that have mentors and role models for me. I'm there's Muhammad Ali, there's Steve, my mentor now, my mom. So they're actually like, there's like the little mirrors there on the wall. And when I look in them, I don't see like my physical reflection, I see an aspect of myself. So those role models, gurus, are mirrors of a capacity, of a desire, of a potential that I have. And so I use them, but at the same time, it's not really them. It's just, I'm just looking at a part of me. And so that's what this is about, right? If that's the Buddha, that's like, well, it's time to kill that teacher or that Buddha, that mentor. Hopefully not really kill them, but kill them in your mind as something outside of you that you aren't already. We only see what's in us. And so that's there because that's aspects of me, right? I'm just those different mirrors. So awesome book. Thank you, Phil. If you watch this, thank you so much recommendation. I mean, it's awesome. I told Phil he's the Chris Kyle of Buddha, so it makes sense that he recommended this to me. But very good. That wasn't even on the plan to talk about that, but see how that unfolds. Just going with the flow. Here we are. So on my note here, I've got the things I wanted to talk about. Homeschooling. So we had the plan. Did I say this already? That I'm to take our son out of preschool and practice homeschooling, and now I've just been thrown into through the change in circumstances. So we're going with it, and I'm having fun. I've just it's in my calendar. Homeschooling 7 a.m. every day. He comes running into the living room. Hi, Daddy, and I'm like, on my journaling or whatever, my writing, and it's like fold that up, and it's like boom, here I'm with my son now in an intention space to create. And in the morning, he's attentive, and we're doing phonics, and he's learning to read. He just turned 4 years. He read a whole sentence yesterday, and you know me, on that door right there, this door right here on the other side, it says, let me just show you, hold on. That is Abra Kadabra. That's Aramaic, and it means I create as I speak. Hear me, abracadabra, I create as I speak. It's something to remind myself of every morning. I say I am possibility as I speak. So for me, language, the construction of language creates our conceptualization. It takes all of that meaningless stuff out there, and it puts, that's what language is. And so teaching my son to read is for me, such a fulfilling thing, because actually teaching him how to construct reality and to write down. So I don't call them sentences, I call them secret messages. And so I write a secret message, this cryptic code. And at first it's just a bunch of jumpers. Steve, hi. Watch out, this book's coming for you, Steve. It's so good. I'm going to send it to you. So my son, I'm teaching him to read, calling them sentences. I call them secret messages. And he looks at all these jumbled letters and has a desire to know what this message is, because words are magic. You know, there's an idea that he can only access through learning how to sound these things out. And so it's a really fun game with him where he's enticed to learn to read because he gets to discover the secret message and symbols on the board, and it's so much fun getting him engaged in it, having so much fun. I'm probably having more fun than he is learning to read, but having a great time. So homeschooling is fulfilling, it's exciting, and what else is happening? There's a lot more screen time right now than we would have wanted. But here's just something I discovered. One of the things I know for sure is that my son watches too much, it changes his neurology. He's super hyper, irritable, he screams and cries if we take him off it. And so I saw it as screen time or not screen time. But now in this environment where we basically need more screen time in order for us to have time together and alone without him, because we're all home all day, it's like, well, what are we just going to have him going crazy? Well, let's look at it more specifically. And we started to look closely, and this is always a thing in life, that we say this is either it's bad, but then if you look closer and if you find more distinction, you find a middle ground, like a place where things work. And we found that certain shows didn't change his neurology as much, like Daniel Tiger, Mr. Rogers. Certain things with his loving, kind message don't have him getting all angry and stuff if we turn it off. There's also features that are built into this software, like autoplay. So if you have a kid in the house and you're using screen time, turn off autoplay, because it's harder to interrupt a child during an episode of something than at the end when the credits are rolling. There's a rise and fall in their energy and their attachment and their focus. And it's the end of an episode, he's got this moment of looking around when the credits are rolling, and that's a moment to disengage. Netflix. It's a very deep buried feature. You have to use a web browser to access it, but you can autoplay on Amazon Prime and on Netflix. So then we find episodes of certain shows that don't affect him too much, and it ends just the right time. So we walk through and the show's ending because we've planned it that way. So we're finding our way. We're learning to navigate. And we're creating this. What I said to Kiara this morning about what I would share today, I was like, the thing is that when there's a will, there's a way, right? And that's a common phrase that everybody hears, but I think that it's underestimated how powerful that is, because if you actually say that there will make this work, you're not stuck between a rock and a hard place. You don't have to walk away from something you were hoping would work but isn't working. People say, oh, I want to try something new. I'm going to try running, and I didn't like to run, so I'm just not going to run. It's like a massive category to throw out. Maybe it's the pace, maybe it's the shoes, maybe it's the place that you ran, maybe it's the time of, maybe it's the, there's like a million variables. And so I think when we're too throw out the whole thing, we miss that sometimes it's just one little of the thing and how we're doing it that can turn it from something we don't want to do into something we enjoy doing, or something that works really well. So my wife and I went from having time every single day in the middle of the day to be together in our marriage, to read this book together, to like suddenly not having any time at all, where the other day texting me from bed saying, I'm upset about this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, geez, what's going on here? My wife's texting me that she's upset with something. Guess we don't have time to talk. I missed that she was upset. It's been a couple days since this has been going on, and she's texting me instead of talking to me. How did we do that? Well, we made this plan to manage the business and the house stuff, and to make sure she had time for herself and I had time for myself, and that he was getting the homeschooling that he needed, but we forgot to make time for us together without him. So that's where that extra TV time in the evening came in. So we're starting tonight. We'll have an hour of marriage time every night from 7 to 8. That's the goal anyway. Inch by inch. And so also with these things, like, we are going to screw it up. That's the other thing that I'm really embracing right now. Everything is shifting, how we're using our time and everything, and we're going to screw it up. We're going to make a plan, it's not going to work. We're going to make a plan, it's not going to work. We're going to make a plan, and it's not going to work. And that's not a problem unless my relationship to the plan not working is, now I failed. My relationship to the plan not working is, oh cool, I just got some new information to improve the plan to make it more likely to work. So every time it's not just an adjustment, a movement in that direction. And I have such a commitment to the possibility it can be beautiful, and this can work really well, that it not working, not negative feedback, it's actually positive feedback, because it's like, I just got closer to what the thing is and the way that it's going to work well. So one of the other things that I saw is that my fitness in the morning, I love working out in the morning, and I've done years, first thing in the morning. Okay, I do my meditation, my journaling, I go to the gym. And so I tried continuing with that, I did continue with that when all the gyms are closed, right? And I've worked from home, and it's like 5:30 in the morning, I'm out there with my friend Wesley going for a run, and it's like drizzling and raining, it's like 45 degrees Fahrenheit, it's black, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, do I really want to work in the cold? Like, I don't have to. If I'm working out by myself and from home, why don't I work out in the middle of the day? So I'm shifting my schedule. And so why is that important? Because all of a sudden now I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. My son's not up till 6. Usually most of that time is for fitness. What am I going to do at that time? Wow, I've been looking for a place where I could record audios in silence. During the day around here, it's loud, my kid's up, I can't do it here, where am I going to go? Now I've got a quiet space in the morning to audios. That'll only take me a couple of weeks, then I'll have this whole audio created that I've been planning. That's going to happen really fast now because I've got a lot of space. There's one arriving today from Amazon. And then what? Wow, I've got 2 or 3 hours to be creating in the morning. Not the kind of I'm talking to people because everybody's asleep, and well, what would I write? Well, I've got a book I started a few years ago. It'd be really useful for me to finish. If anybody's interested in reading that, I'm happy to share that with you privately. It's going to be an allegorical novel. Maybe the synopsis really quick right here. Why not? It's an allegorical novel around creating your reality and your world. And the story is told through who's a real estate broker, which I draw on from my experience being in the real estate industry. Very financially successful, stressed out, doesn't have much time. Suddenly a bunch of stuff, an earthquake hits. His wife who's pregnant miscarries. The IRS comes him for tax evasion. And basically shit hits him. His life falls apart. And when he's completely stressed out, he meets this dude who becomes his mentor. And this guy's a little bit amazing and also crazy. He's an investor, background in law, and he is paid by women naturally inseminate them so that they can have a baby without him in their life. So kind of like when you would go for artificial insemination by a sperm donor, but he actually does the deed with them. And this whole thing is that life as creation, that the purpose of life is to create, and he does really and mimetically. He doesn't differentiate between it. And he's honest and he's got integrity. He's a very interesting character, and he mentors this other person through this person's life to help them to see that if they just show up in life as a loving source of creation, they can create anything they want. And this guy how to recreate his life, not through being tethered to circuit force and make things work, which can create results but is not fulfilling, and to create from a place that's more fit and relaxed and easy and flowing. And it's kind of wild and it's kind of out there, but it sources in a lot of aspects of my life, both today but also through my journey in life. Maybe I could have been that person in a few other ways, but anyway, it's a fun story and it's a novel and it teaches the ideas of creating. I'm just sharing right now because I'm reconnected to it and I'm excited to work on the book, and that's going to happen in the mornings. I'm not going to say I hope the pandemic continues, but I take full advantage of the fact that I'm not leaving my house, and I'm encouraging everybody to see the blessing in this, right? And really fine line to walk, but I'm committed to walk. I said that this morning, like, I really want to help people to thrive in this, and it's like thriving while people are suffering and dying. Does that feel, if you just look at that level, it's kind of callous. But if you actually consider the reality, if you're actually willing to look at the potential for death, and you come face to face with mortality and you look it in the eyes, you think, what's actually the most beautiful way? Well, the most beautiful way to meet the reality of our mortality is to be our greatest and to be the most alive and to actually thrive, right? It's like, well, what are we going to sit around while we fizzle out? No, we want to put life into things. And I think that you can probably relate, whether you or not, but when somebody that you know dies, there's a burst of life in you. I know I feel most alive when people I know die. Not because I'm happy and joyful, but because I'm struck with the reality of living. It's like, I notice that I'm alive when somebody's suddenly dead. And so that notice of aliveness is what I'm talking about when I think, geez, let's thrive right now. Let's do our best, not to try to leverage and step on people's suffering. That's not what this is about. Do our best and thrive because we are in contact with our mortality, in contact with the reality of how quick things can go from safe to not. I think everybody out there has at least a thought in the back of their, could I get the virus, and if I did, could I be one of the few, if I'm not older, that still get sick? Maybe I have a respiratory condition I don't know about. I mean, I saw an article about a guy, healthy guy, he's dead, coronavirus. So we don't know. And it's not about odds and statistics, it's about the thought. The thought that I might can actually have me step up and live and thrive at my capacity. So that's the first thing I'll say. And the other thing that I'm going to be writing about and talking about more is how right now coaches, which is my industry, but coaches are probably the people that could save the world. And I think that they can and should be carrying the torch right now. And so why is that? Well, because what makes right now is how we individually meet this circumstance. We see this chaos and we throw up our arms and we go, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm indecisive, and we're afraid we're going to be swept by that current. My friend, real estate mentor when I was first getting into the business, Paul Zarella, Paul, I'll tag you in this so you can check it out. I remember him saying to me when the real estate market was going up and everybody was becoming a real estate agent. Houses were almost selling themselves. Everybody and their brother was a real estate agent. It's like, became one, it's like, boom, selling a house, making commission. And he said, yeah, but when the market changes, everybody that's not real estate, who isn't really worth their salt, who's not really committed to this work, who can't really make it, be swept away, and all the actual agents will be the ones left standing. And I think with coaching right now, and you get to decide if you're a coach. Are you going to be a person, I'm a life coach when life is easy? Or am I a life coach when the circumstances are challenging, right? This is the time to shine as an individual coach, but it's also the time that coaches are most needed. Because uncertainty out there is going to be the thing that actually impacts people unless a coach can step in and help that person not to be impacted by circumstances, to see that they can transcend the circumstances no matter what they, even in the face of their own mortality. They can actually access an alertness, joy, and an excitement, which is actually a full embrace of that you're going to die. And then you're, well, I'm still alive. And then you, with that zest, you go and create. But if we're not meeting it that way, and we're in dread and fear and things, and our life is an expression of that, which is less and less and less, and we just sources instead of leveraging them to create more value in the world. So for me, what a coach is somebody who can help another person to rise above their circumstances. And so with that definition, I think right now, the coach is the most important person in the world, because this circumstance is in people's mind. For every single person that has the coronavirus, literally or biologically, there's probably 1,000 or maybe 10,000 already have it mimetically, that the virus has already infected their mind, whether it's they're trying to talk about conspiracy theories because they're so afraid, or they're trying to buy up all the toilet paper, or they're freaking out and pull their subscriptions online, right? Whatever that is, like the virus is in them. They have the actual thing, and if they did, it probably wouldn't even be as bad for most people as the mimetic virus that's already creating uncertainty in their mind and uncertainty in their body. And so a coach is a mimetic virus, and there's more people infected with it already than there are with the actual biological virus. And so the mimetic virus, the mimetic version of the coronavirus, can have more impact than the biological one. And a coach's role is to help immune, mimetically, to stay immune from the idea of fear, has them showing up in ways that's disempowering and making a mess of their life. You know, the virus itself may never touch you physically, you never get sick, but how sick is your mind getting right now, and what impact is that in your life, on how you manage your finances, on what happens to your relationship, on your parenting, anywhere. And so coaches are right now perfectly positioned to save the world by helping people to stay at peace, to stay open, to see things in such a way that are transcendent of these circumstances, creating, and actually use the energy of that fear to transmute it into actually be in service with it. Because that's what happens as soon as you see through the fear into love, you feel this energy, you go and share it and make a difference. So I'll get off my high horse a little bit, my soapbox, not high horse. Yeah, I hope it's not a high horse. Soapbox for that for a second. I'm going to write more about that and share it this. We do a webinar specifically focused on creating in this coronavirus pandemic, specifically for coaches in particular, to really help a lot of coaches to see this and to have the energy that they need in order to help others to have the energy and certainty that would help them, and on and on. Wow, good to see you guys. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Parker, welcome. Michelle, welcome. Michael, welcome. Ginny, welcome. Lena Frassini. Wow, I love you guys so much. It's really nice to see. That's it. That's what I had lined up for talk about today. I love you all. All questions or thoughts about anything I said, drop a comment and be in conversation. Most of all, much love. I'll see you next time. The long end of the video is because you have to click a lot of things before you can actually end it. Okay, bye.